Sai Ram, thank you all so much for joining us today on the auspicious occasion of Easwaramma Day. We'll be following the agenda as sent in the email, and just a gentle reminder to please be on mute throughout the session. We'll be starting off with 3 ohms.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Gananam Tvam Ganapatigum Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamasravastamam Jyeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspatahanas Shrinvannoti Visidha Sadhanam Prano Devi Saraswati Vajit Virvajinivati Dinama Vitrayavatu Ganeshaya Namaha Saraswatyai Namaha Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.
Sai Ram, now we'll be having a SSE presentation conducted by Satya. Over to you, Sai Ram Satya.
Sairam everyone, I'm sharing my screen. Okay. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can see it now.
Yes.
Sairam everyone, happy Easwaramma Day to everyone. On this auspicious day, the SSC kids did a small activity for each of their own mothers, and we made a compilation of that to give it to our Divine Mother Seaside. This is from Lasya to her mother Hema, Aditya to his mother Gauri, Sai Smaran and Sai Charan to mother Sirisha. And Sai Charan is only 4 years old. He did a really good job of making the nice activity for his mom. Panita and Hanvita to their mom Harika. Bhavya to her mom Sagita, and Sai Charan to me. And inspired by all the kids, I also did for my mother and my mother-in-law. And last but not the least, Kiran and Sai Karthik to Lakshmi Auntie. Thank you all. Happy Mother's Day. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, very nice presentation by all the SSE kids. And thank you, Satya, for also making me and my brother to be part of it. It's truly a blessing to do such a nice activity.
Sai Ram, thank you, Karthik.
Thank you. Sai Ram, now we'll be moving on to the experience sharing by brother Balu Karanam. And now Lakshmi Taraga will be giving a brief introduction about brother Balu Karanam.
Sairam everyone. Our Kansas Sai Center is blessed to have with us brother Balasubramanyam Karanam, who will be sharing his divine experiences today on the auspicious occasion of Easwaramma Day. Brother Balu was born in a small village near Puttaparthi in a family of Sai devotees. He joined the Puttaparthi village primary school for 4th grade, studied in Srimati Easwaramma High School, graduated and postgraduated in chemistry from the Sri Satya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, Prashanthi Nilayam campus between 1978 to 1992. He joined Johns Hopkins School of Medicine to pursue his research studies in cancer biology. Brother Balu was a SSC teacher for Group 3 and served as the president of Sri Satya Sai Baba Center of Greater Baltimore, Maryland, and as the regional devotional coordinator for the Mid-Atlantic region. Brother Balu is currently working as a professor in cancer biology. He has previously served as a group leader of Sri Satyasai Group of Montgomery, Alabama. Currently, he is serving our beloved Swami as the Region 3 President. Now, I would like to virtually hand over the mic to Brother Balu. Sairam, Sairam
Sairam,
Balasubramanyam,
Sairam.
Sairam, Sairam, brother.
నిను వినుతించినంతటన నిర్మలమౌను మనస్సు నీ నుడుల్ విని మననంబొనర్పగా పవిత్రత నందెడున్ నిన్ను గూర్చి మే మనయము చేయు సాధన మహాద్భుతము సత్యసాయి జీవనమున మాకు సత్యము శివంబును సుందరమున్ ఉనర్చడున్. Offering my most humble salutations at the lotus feet of our beloved Swami, sisters, brothers, and members of the Sai family of Kansas. Thank you all for inviting me on this occasion of Easwaramma Day. It is a beautiful poem written by a wonderful devotee called Madhuna Pantula Satyanarayana Shastri. He used to sit in Swami's mandir as we were kids studying in Easwaramma High School. We also had a lesson written by him, but we used to see him every day in the mandir. What it says is, our minds get serenity by singing your glory, Swami. We get sanctified by remembering your love. That this divine bond of love with you is the greatest miracle happened to the millions in this world. Swami, you are the truth, auspiciousness, and the ultimate beauty of our lives. Having said that, thank you. Thank you, Sister Lakshmi, for inviting and also for that wonderful introduction. So basically, my journey started in this village very, very close to Puttaparthi. Like, it is 27 miles from Puttaparthi. My father was the head of the village called Karanam, something like a CFO of the village. So this is a small village. It's not even a village you can see. So we had one problem. We are six of us in the family. We are six of us. I am the youngest in the family. This village had a problem because after fifth grade we didn't have school in the village, so we have to walk or we have to go to nearby places to study. So that is the time a news came to as my siblings are completing fifth grade, this news came to the village that Swami is starting a high school called Srimati Easwaramma High School. It is so happens today is Easwaramma Day. We are talking about that beautiful school which Swami started in mother's name. So this is the groundbreaking ceremony, and Swami was in like building a school for the rural children, because there was no school even in Puttaparthi. Because if you read Swami's life, Swami also walked to Bukkapatnam school for high school. So this school made our family, except me, rest all the my siblings moving to Puttaparthi and joining this school. Actually, once this is my second brother and third sister, they joined much before me. I was still in my village. They used to come back and tell beautiful stories of Swami and about their new school. Actually, this going to a good school district is a well-known thing in US, but our parents took us to this God school district. School district, that's what I can say. So they went first and they came back and told beautiful stories of Puttaparthi and Swami sending apples, laddus to the school. That is the only school in the Vidyagiri those days. So I was thinking, they don't go to school, they must be going to some temple, because nobody gives that kind of fruits or laddus in the school. But Swami used to send those days. My interest of seeing Swami started because of these two standing here. I'm in the middle. That is the age I got introduced to Swami, like kind of from my siblings. So this is the beautiful building of the Easwaramma High School. You can see the Mother Easwaramma statue there. And my journey to Puttaparthi, I went to Parthi. My brother, who actually he told so much about Sai Gita and also a camel called Sai Kishore. Swami's, camel. Swami also had a camel, a pet camel. So he took me to this beautiful place called today Sai Kulwanthal. Those days it looked like that, and on the way to Prashanti Nilayam, you could read wonderful sayings of Swami, and also you go and settle down. This is the gent side. So this is sands actually. So like that is the first darshan, and my brother told me, like, you cannot talk here. There are somebody called Sevadal. They'll throw you out. So there is a silence. Then Swami came, and my brother said, touch his feet. I touched, and I came back home, and then that after a lot of deliberation, like discussion, finally they made me to come. And because they were worried that by leaving my parents, because my father and mother were still in the village, even though it is 27 miles, they said that I will cry for them. But since every one of them were in Parthi, I felt like, being with them. So after a lot of discussion, they put me into this school. This is my primary school in the Puttaparthi village. Please don't mistake for the primary school, which is in the Vidyagiri, which came up later on. So this is the wonderful school in which Swami studied. You can see the attendance register in which his name appears as R. Satyanarayana, Swami's real name. So he studied from 31 to 1936 in Puttaparthi. Later on, he went to Kamalapuram and Bukkapatnam, and finally in Uravakonda in 1940 through the books in 9th grade to give the books to our hands, building all the wonderful Satsai Institute of Higher Learning. So I have a double degree along with other students of Puttaparthi who studied here. I am a student of a school to which Sai is a student. I'm also a student of Satyasai Institute of Higher Learning, which is Swami's built institutions. So being in this school went so early, as I said, in 1978, I was there. Parthi was very, very small, and wonderfully we used to attend all the, discourses. One good thing was I know only one language. I didn't even know Hindi or English. So the Telugu was the only language I knew. And that is enough, because Swami gives discourse in Telugu. I could hear Swami directly. And also Swami beautifully says, my discourse is my gift to the devotees. Tambulam, Swami says in Telugu. So actually I can put it as a goodie bag. Goodie bag is an equal translation in American parlance. So what Swami says is Tambulam, the gift contains these things. The poem he sings first is the gold plate. So the speaking part, Swami speaking part is considered as silk clothes and the fruits. And this is the way in the South India, the Tambulam concept. Then Swami says the bhajan, finally what he concludes with, is beetle leaves and beetle nut with dakshana. Swami also saying, with money he gives to devotees. So I don't know, like, born to Indian parents or Indian, the Indianness in me attracted me to this gold plates, which are Swami's poems. Swami beautifully says in his, like, I still remember the poem. Actually, Swami says, దేవునెరుగునట్టి తెలివి యొక్కటే చాలు తత్పరంబు తెలివి తట్టెడేలా దేవునెరుగలేని తెలివేమి తెలివయా ఉదర పోషణ కొరకు ఓటు తెలివి. Saying that you don't need any other knowledge. The only knowledge you need to have, only intelligence you need to have to recognize and realize God. All other knowledge, all other intelligence is just to belly filling. That's what Swami says. And he explains little more. He says sarva mrugamulandu samanya telivundu bhukti bhogamulanni పొందుచుండు అట్టి తెలివి ఉన్న నరుడు మృగమే కదా మనిషి కాదు వాడు మహిని పుత్ర. Saying that all the animals, including viruses, bacteria, everything, they have enough knowledge to survive. Just to eat, just to create, increase the progeny, this kind of thing. If human beings having the intellect still behave like that, what is the difference between human beings and other, organisms? That's what Swami says. So that's beautifully he used to sing, and he used to tell wonderful stories in his discourse. That was the childhood. And also we had a wonderful, people those days, in a mandir called Pedda Bottu. Her name is Gali Sharda Devi Garu. She is the lady who saw Shirdi Baba as a small kid and served Satya Sai as a old lady. Can you imagine here? Her name comes from Pedda Bottu, means, big bindi, or, big dot. Swami used to call her Pedda Bottu. So she was known as Pedabottu in the mandir. Actually, her real name is Gali Sharada Devi Garu. So we used to run to her, and because somebody told that, she has seen Sirdi Baba, so we used to go and say, grandmother, we want to touch your feet. And she used to chide us. She used to say, why you want to touch my feet? You should touch only Swami's feet. Such kind of humble devotees. Imagine, she has seen in one life two avatars. So how, like, such a blessed lady. So we have seen such kind of people. We never realized that, until we grew up and we study, we read her, autobiography. There's a beautiful book. You all should read it. She tells all the beautiful stories from Shirdi to Parthi. Then, there was a wonderful time. This is Swami's sister, Srimati Venkamma Garu. Actually, she directed a play along with the kids. My sister was in that play, and it's about a drama of the flower. Then actually I happened to see that, and I was thinking, will I be doing these kind of things? Will I be close to Swami one day? Because it's come kind of a, sibling peer pressure, kind of, even to getting close to Swami. That's what happens in Parthi. She's a wonderful lady, like, like Venkamagaru is the one who directed that drama, and Swami blessed, this the picture. Then Swami coming to my home, actually. See, six families, they built homes. Those days, Parthi was very, very small. So they went to Mandir, to the darshan, and they asked Swami, like Swami asked them, actually, how far is your construction? And they said, Swami, it's almost over. Then Swami said, I'm going to Vrindavan. Let us finish Gro Pravesham tomorrow. The day Swami decides, that is the good muhurtam, or whatever it is. When God comes to your home, that is the real housewarming. So it's a very nice, Swami comes. This is my brother, my second brother, standing next to Swami. So Swami's group pravesham, housewarming is very simple. Swami comes in, he get the head of the family, garland Swami. Swami goes into the house. He touches the fruits and the milk with the hand. Then the lady of the house gives the harati to Swami. That's it. He comes and goes to the next house. So then finally he took a picture. You can see the houses were not even plastered with, walls were not plastered with, cement. It's not ready. But when Swami comes, everything is ready. Like, you can see they are not even, later on, the carpets, everything came. You can see, like, just they have put some rangoli and, invited Swami. Swami was coming. Swami was available that easily those days. Then the beautiful things, today is Easwaramma Day, but on 22nd November, since there was no college, Swami used to come and, pay tributes to the parents. Swami is, always said, he is not a geography master. He is a physical education teacher. Swami used to say this because geography teacher can sit in, Alabama and talk about Kansas, which he has not seen. Whereas the physical education teacher he'll do the exercise and makes the kids to repeat it. Swami is like that. He will do it so that we can follow it. That's what he says. He's a physical education teacher. So he shows how to pay tributes to your parents. Like, he's God, but he's showing parents are very important. We need to, like, take care of them. And, that is the way his life is his message. Then we used to stay nearby and, see Swami very close. And, those days, these things became rare later on after the college came, all that. So then Swami inaugurating Satyasai Institute of Higher Learning. This is a building we never knew we will study in this, all that actually. So I graduated from, from village school and came to Easwaramma High School. On the inauguration of Easwaramma High School in 1972, after Mother Easwaramma passed away, Swami started the school. So he says this school will become gateway for rural children to get higher education. This really, I might have read it, but it didn't hit me. But when I joined Johns Hopkins School of Medicine in USA, which is a premier institution, I realized how powerful is his word. It is not my effort of, going there. It is just blessing of Swami and his word coming true. That I'm very sure about it. He says the rural children, you have seen my village, to get higher education. That's what is Bhagavan's word. His name is Satyam. What he utters is Satyam. That means it will happen actually. So that is, then I joined the school, had a wonderful time. This is our first warden, Nityananda Menon Garu. So Swami used to come, and Swami used to come even to see the basketball matches. Those days, sudden the new college has come, Swami used to come and watch. So we used to gather and see Swami. Then this was the Hillview Stadium. Can you imagine? That's where they used to play the cricket match, and just freshly came, like administrative building. This is what the autograph, once I remember some cricketers came, actually Gavaskar and those who know cricket, some of the people came and we were going behind them for the autograph. One of our teacher told beautifully, saying that, see, they came to see Swami. Why you are going behind these cricketers? You have to go for Swami's autograph. So we had wonderful teachers who could, guide us like that, because that's a way the party, that ambience was. So then came my real, time, like, after 12th grade, in India, there was a craziness, like, if you are good in, math, you are becoming an engineer. If you are good in biology, you become a doctor, because you have to write one exam and, pass. So if you are bad in both, you become a patient. That means you are good for anything, good for nothing, kind of. So I failed in that exam. I wanted to become, engineer, but I failed, because if I would have become engineer, I don't think I would have continued in Puttaparthi. But since I didn't get that, I have to go back to Parthi. But I had, I was in my cousin's home and my cousins were making fun of me. They said, oh, you didn't get engineering, so you are going to go to Puttaparthi and you become a sannyasi. In Telugu, sannyasi means useless also. So that is the time my grandmother, I need to tell about her. She is Swami's classmate at Bukkapatnam. She studied with Swami in Bukkapatnam. This is the school she studied. She came to my rescue. She first said, what what does this donkeys know about Satya Sai Baba? Can you imagine? I was very happy that she called my cousins who are teasing me as donkeys. That was a very nice feeling I had. Then she said, he is God incarnate. You are blessed to get a college seat. Your life will change. That's what I do. She is no more. She merged into Swami. I realized her powerful, blessing that day. See, a classmate realizing Swami as God, that's only possible only to Swami, not for anyone. Because when she lost her husband, Swami writes a beautiful letter to her saying that Jagat means coming and going. So don't worry about these things. Come to Puttaparthi and settle there. I will take care of you. Can you imagine how many classmates? God is an ideal classmate too. And she beautiful, she was always in Swami's name and doing bhajans, and Swami used to always give her a silk sari for his birthday. That is the way Swami has kept these wonderful classmates around him. Then I joined Puttaparthi. As soon as you join, you feel like you have to do something to get close to Swami. Easiest thing everybody thinks is bhajan singing, because we all feel that we sing bhajans, but not everybody can sing bhajans. Because if you do practice, yes, we can, but we all feel that we are better singers. Why do somebody does control our devotional singing or devotional coordination, all these things, because like that. So it's very easy to ask Swami for permission. So Swami comes and I asked Swami, Swami asked, what do you want? So I said, Swami, padalani undi. I want to sing. Then Swami said, Manchidi padu. That means it's very difficult to understand Swami's language too. I need to tell you this. Manchidi, I don't know whether there is a comma after that. Padu, that means good, sing. And Telugu is like that. Swami used to play with words, as you will see more and more. Then Manchidi Padu means sing a good one. So I took it very seriously. Then I went to hostel and reached. I told one of the senior, saying that Swami given me permission to sing. He said, okay, come to the music room. So he took me to a room called music room, where he took the harmonium. Then he put some he said, what Shruti? I didn't know anything. Then he said, okay, one pancham, one madhyam. Then finally he said, you are adam. That means you are not good for singing. Because in Easwaramma school, we are very good at singing loudly. Like, we are good, Nagar Sankirtan singers, because we wake up people. We don't sing in really, all those ragams kind of things. So that's where we lost. And he said, it, even though Swami gives permission to sing in bhajan, I thought in the bhajan hall actually, but he explains to me what is the way to sing in bhajan. He says, you have to sing in the hostel, you have to practice and sing in the hostel bhajans. Once you sing in the hostel bhajans, you sing in the college bhajans. Then you sing well there. When Swami comes to hostel, we'll give you a chance to sing. If you sing well there, then you will get to sing in mandir. It looked to me as, it's a long queue, something like a going for Tirupati, in a Sarvadarshanam kind of, in a long queue to see God. I thought singing is not like, we should try these different things to get close to him. So when I'm having this one day, like, Swami, like gave me like, this is when I was going through this, how to get close to you, Swami. One day, like, in the darshan, when Swami was coming, this beautiful poem came to my, like, to me, given by Swami. I realized this later on, called Makari Kari Batti Bhatimpa Sri Hari Arudenche Sudarshanamutu Karini Brova Penumayalu Prajala Batti Vedimpa Narayanuడవతరించె సాయి శుండై తన దర్శనమే సుదర్శనముగా. Saying that when, elephant was caught by a crocodile, God came and released the Sudarshan, that is the disc, and he killed the crocodile and released the uh, elephant. Here, illusions, crocodiles called illusions are, catching us, Swami. Please give your darshan and release from these illusions with this powerful, your darshan itself is powerful, Sudarshan. So I wanted to give as a poem. Then I took it to my Telugu, lecturer in college, and I showed to him his Suryanarayana Murthy garu. So he looked at it and he said, this is very nice. And he checked the little typos and he corrected and said, you should give it to Swami. See, that kind of teachers we had. Then I had given so many letters to Swami. He took and walked away. I don't know whether he is reading my letter. So I thought I should not give it as a letter. I should make Swami to read this, as a poem. So I took a small sheet of paper on which I wrote this poem. When Swami gave, I didn't even fold it. I showed the poem to Swami, just 4 lines. Swami took it, read it, and asked me, where are you from? So I got up and I told Swami, a little bit of, conversation. Then Swami said, Tisuko, means take the Padnamaskar. So I touched Swami. As I sat down, all my friends, once Swami speaks to you, you become very famous in Puttaparthi, in hostel, everywhere. So as soon as I came to hostel, all my friends came to me and said, hey, Swami liked you. What did he speak to you? Then I told them, like, Swami asked me this, like that. They're all very happy. That's what the hostel used to be like that. Then there was one person from Delhi, I remember. He came to me and said, hey, Balu, when Swami asks, where are you from? We should say, Swami, we are from you. So I didn't say that. I only told my village name, as a, like a, then I thought I should say that next time. But will Swami ask me again? So I thought let me write another poem. Swami, this is the way we used to sit actually. And also I need to tell you, right now the our Mahasamadhi area is used to look like this. So basically that is the place Swami had a very close, Swami used to walk through this, passage where he becomes very, very close to our, physical distance. So these are the places we used to sit and give these poems. So again, the next poem, like, this is the place, the Mahasamadhi area used to look like this. Then there was a vice chancellor's conference. Swami called all the vice chancellors, and he used to he called them and he said about his education. Why did he start this college? And Swami used to say that తరచి తరచి చదువ తర్కవాదమే గాని పూర్ణ జ్ఞానం వెప్పుడు పొందలేరు, చదివి 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 చావంగనేటికి చావు లేని చదువు చదువువలే. That means you have to study the education which liberates you. That's what Swami says. And he says, who is a good student? He says, Sadgunamulu Sadbuddhi Satya Nirati Bhakti Kramasiksha Kartavya Palanambu Nerpunade Vidya. That's what Swami's beautiful is. Speeches used to be like flow of Ganges. Swami says, good virtues, Sadbuddhi, good intellect, bhakti, devotion, kramasikshana, discipline, kartavya palanambu, doing the duty. These are the hallmarks of a student. If you don't have this, you are not a student. Swami used to say, like that, inspiring. After hearing Swami, I sat down and I wrote this poem called Vidya Vidulandu Velakatti Amuvela Veda Vidyalaku Vishwana Tavuleka ప్రాచ్య భావంబు కృంగి అప్రాచ్య మెచ్చువేళ వెలిసె మాతల్లి సాయి విద్యామ కల్పవల్లి. Saying that when education was sold as a commodity in the streets, you see in this country much more. So there is no place for Vedic culture in the education. Human values are on decline and material outlook was on rise. There came a temple of learning. So I took this poem, Swami looks at it and gives Pad Namaskar. I thought this is the best way to get his Pad Namaskar. So that, see, bit by bit it became a habit and kept on writing. Then another, see, you walk, actually every darshan, when we walk in front of the college, we go this, and it says తల్లి వెలసె సర్వకళామ తల్లి నిలచే పట్టిలోన ఈ పుణ్య ధాత్రిలోన చదువు సంస్కారంబు సర్వులకు నందింప సాయి శారదమ్మ తల్లి యగుచు. Basically saying that your mother Saraswati, you came down to Puttaparthi to give the bless us with the education with good character. Swami gives the Pad Namaskar. So I felt writing this, it gave me immense joy. Even now, when I think about it, that moment of touching Swami's feet gives me a lot of joy. So as it went on, let me not read, all the poems, like, I wrote a lot of poems, and some of the people, some of my friends liked my poems. Some of the people said, you don't follow certain meter, there are, they started analyzing my poems. I was telling, no, I'm already a realized person, why do you analyze my poems? So the people who liked, my friends who liked my poems, became very close to me. Those who didn't like my poems, I didn't like them. That was, my realization actually. Then one day, it's beautifully, one day, Swami gives a discourse to, like, Swami gives an interview to the Western devotees who came from, place like, America, all these places. Those days, we didn't even know where they are coming from. We are just sitting in the portico. After finishing the interview, Swami comes to the students and he says, look, boys, these people are coming like bees, taking the nectar out of the lotus. Swami says he is the lotus. These people who are coming from foreign countries are the bees. They're coming and taking the nectar. And Swami says, you're all sitting like frogs. Can you imagine? We're all sitting under the lotus as frogs, because frog cannot enjoy the lotus. Swami says that we are frogs. Yes, if Swami says you are a frog, you are a frog. There's no doubt about it. That really struck me. It took a while, actually. Like, not that poems came every day. Actually, not that they came whenever I want. Whenever he gave, whenever he gives, that is the time the poems came. I didn't realize that. You will see that as more and more we go in. So I kept on, like, this I used to think about what Swami said in the study time in the hostel. Not that I neglected my studies, but this is the beautiful thing used to happen. Okay? So this is the poem came after some time called విరిసిన పువ్వును నేను వేచితి నిన్ను కోరి విపుడా నీదు సేవకే మాత్రమే నేను నంచు చంచిత చిత్త చంచరీకము పూదేనె గ్రోలక మున్పే అందుకో స్వామి ఈ పుష్ప నిరాజనం. saying that, dear Swami, I'm a flower waiting to. This poem I wrote before. Then I took it to after the. This is the poem the before the day when Swami said about the like a frog thing. After the frog thing, it took a while. I used to write these poems. Then this poem came called Makaranda Molikinchu Kamalambu Chenta Mandu Karitilo Nilachiyunti Brahmalu Tolaginchi Nanu Brahmaramuga Marchi Madura Mandiyava Mohananga. Saying that, Swami, yes, we are sitting like frog beneath the lotus. This frog needs your grace to become a bee. Okay, make me a bee, feed me with nectar. You alone can do it. Please do it. This is the poem I wrote in Telugu and gave it to Swami. Swami came, he took the poem, he looked at it, he said, Dunnapota, he said. Dunnapota. Swami used to say he used to address. Dunnapota means a he buffalo. That means you have to change. Bangaru means golden one. Is a very lovingly used to say that. Then there are various. If somebody is little stout, Swami used to say, hey, Pakoda, come here, like that. Like Swami had different ways of addressing students. So he said, Dunnapota. He said. Then I stood and looked at him, and Swami said, if I make you be and give the nectar, where is your effort? Swami said, where is your effort? Then I was just looking at Swami. Swami said, బ్యూటిఫుల్లీ సెట్ సాయి నీ హృదయ స్థాయి అది తెలుసుకుంటే నీకు అనంతమైన హాయి. I'll translate. Swami says, where is Swami? Swami is in your heart. The minute you realize that, you get abundant joy. You get infinite joy. So he says that and gave the poem to me and went off. And I took Padnamskar. So this, Swami is telling, where is your effort? To become a bee, you need to put effort. Then it took it gives lot of, when Swami speaks, you're lost. There is no thought. You get immense energy and that joy. So I wrote, sorry. Something. Give me some time. Yeah, it gives a lot of joy. Sorry for that. So then I think something is happening. It is. Yeah. So then Swami came, the next day, this is on my birthday. So Swami is talking to me. There is another poem I wrote called మేను పులకించని మధుర భాషణమున కరములొకటాయే కాకతాళీయముగా కిన్న వదనాన ఉన్న నా కన్నులందు ఆనంద బాష్పములవి ఏవో భారమై జారిపోవా. Saying that, Swami, when you spoke to me, I experienced the ultimate bliss. Without my knowledge, my palms got folded. The joy I experienced was so much, my Lord, I could not hold it. I let it rolled out as tears of joy. So this is the poem, and Swami takes this poem actually and looks at it and says, Anta kapitvamu, kapitvamu, kapitvam. 3 times. He says, basically this in Telugu, kavitvamu means poetry, kapitvamu means monkeyness. So here, Swami says monkeyness. I sat down and I was very happy. I touched Swami's feet. I was very happy because when Swami said you are a monkey, from a frog to monkey is a too much of evolution for a biology student. Because, Swami said that day you're a frog, today you're a monkey. So from pond to the, almost in the branches of the tree now. So I was very happy that Swami called me, Anta kapitvam means monkeyness, basically. Swami said. Then I thought about it. Why did he say the monkeyness? Then, like this, life used to be like that in Patti, and we used to be involved in so many activities. But this will, Swami said this, it used to go in your mind. Then after a long, long time, one day in the hostel when we were doing Hanuman Chalisa, this poem came called Kavine Nanu Konte Kapini Vanantivi Kalugare Nivaru Kavulayandu Mari Kapulayandu కోదండరాముడై నీవు కొలువయ్యుండ కపినేను కాలేన నీ సేనయందు. Saying that, Swami, you call me a monkey. I thought I'm a poet, but you call me a monkey. Are they not close to you? Are they not close to you? Because monkeys are close to God. As a Rama, when you're standing, make me a monkey in your army. Take me into your army. That's what I wrote it. Swami took it. He read it. And that was a wonderful day in my life. And Swami asked, what do you want? Then, as I told you, when Swami speaks, you are lost in that, moment. Then I said, I want you, Swami. Because, we try to speak like that with Swami sometimes. Swami said, Tisku. Taking the take me kind of. But Tisco means you have some kind of you can't take God, isn't it? So I just fell on his feet and touched his feet. So that is what I felt when Swami said Tisco means, is it Pada Namaskar or Tisco, the God himself? Still, even till today, I think about it, and until I am the last moment, I'll think about that moment with Swami. Actually, Tisuko, Swami said, but we can't take him. So this was the wonderful poem, gave lot of joy. I wrote a lot of poems. Let me not read all of them. Let's move on. So after this poem, like this is our hostel, beautiful hostel. One day on the hostel notice board, there was a little advertisement, like little notice board. They have put a small announcement. Sorry, they said that on the occasion of Indian Independence Day, we want to do a Kavi Sammelan. Kavi Sammelan is where you gather all the poets, and those who think they are poets, please submit your poems. I thought, for me, a cakewalk, let me publicize. Till then, only Swami has seen my poems. I thought, everybody should see my poems. So I went, I took one of these poem and I went to this, one of the boy who was put that announcement. I gave it to him saying that, brother, I want to be a Telugu poet. And he looked at it and said, I said, sorry, Balu, somebody else has already given, so you don't have chance. I was so like, depressed because, oh my God, the poem Swami has taken, these people rejected, kind of, it's like you come to bhajan, you want to sing, but nobody allows you, kind of feeling, we go through that. But that's it, because if somebody is singing, you don't have any chance. Then it went on 2 days. Then I was walking, we used to walk to college and come back to hostel. While walking with my friend, there is another friend from Mumbai. This guy, he was in the Kavi Sammel. He was talking to me. He's my classmate, and he was talking to me. He said, "This Kavi Sammelan may not happen." I was happy inside, but showed sadness outside because what happened. I asked him. He said, "See, look, not all languages are represented, so we may not do it and all." Then as we walked in front of Easwaramma High School on the way to hostel for the lunch, this boy, says, Balu, why can't you do one thing? Why can't you take a Kannada poem? Kannada is another language in India. So I should tell my background in Kannada. My mother sang Kannada songs because Puttaparthi area is very close to Karnataka. My father spoke Kannada. That doesn't mean he wrote poems or something like that. So that was our connection to Kannada language. He said, I told are you mad? Actually, you can't call yourself a poet when you don't know the language. He said, there is nothing like that. People, the person from Mumbai, he speaks more Hindi. He is a Tamil poet. The person, one like Bengali poet took Ravindranath Tagore song. It's not that you need to write your own song, he said. Like, see that this this boy from Mumbai, he was very good at selling. This, I feel, always they are very good at talking to you and convincing you. By the time I reached this entrance, I was convinced that I can do it. So I went to our warden, who is a Kannada speaking person, and I told him, sir, those days we need to take permission from warden to hear the, like, uh, songs also. So I went to him and asked him, and he gave. So I wrote Kannada song in Telugu script, because I can't write Kannada language. So I took that song, whatever, I wrote it in Telugu, and I went and told the same boy who rejected me as a Telugu poet, and I told, sir, I want to be a Kannada poet. He hugs me and says, Balu, Swami sent you. Can you imagine? They were waiting for a Kannada poet, so I went in. They got me in, kind of. So I am the last poet to go into the Kavi Sammelan. We went to the mandir, and this boy made a list, and Swami came and asked, boys, what are you doing? Then, this boy said, Swami, we are doing Kavi Sammelana. That means congregation of poets. Then he gives the list of the people in the Kavi Sammelan. Swami looks at it, and my name is, see, even though I wrote all the Telugu poems, but I'm now in Kannada, my role is different. Swami looks at it and looks at me and gave a beautiful smile. I also smiled back. Then Swami beautifully said, soon after the bhajan, you go to the institute auditorium, and I will come and watch your rehearsal. Already afternoon I submitted the poem, evening is the rehearsal for which Swami is coming. Swami came along with the university, vice chancellor, registrar, and others. So Swami came and sat, and each one of us went up and like uh, like sang our song, respective song. That day I was singing Kannada song. Swami said, very nice. And, he gave us like Padnamaskar and went off. We went jubilant to, hostel. When we went to hostel, all my friends said, we never knew that, you can sing Kannada. Then, like I told, even until afternoon, I didn't know that I can sing Kannada, that kind of situation, but I did it. So then, see, our conversations won't be, if they are short, they are always sweet. But if you talk more with others, you talk about the ill of others, actually. See, basically, we talked ill of the Telugu poet, how bad he is. Your poems would have been better. That's what my friends were telling. Even I was feeling all that, jealousy kind of thing, all that. It happens. We say that Swami closes, because we tell, no, Swami is all pervasive. Swami is sarvata panipadam, tat sarvata siromukam. All these things we used to talk, but at the same time we forget that he is watching everything. What happened the next day is, Swami gave a interview. He called the all the poets inside. We all went. Swami closed the door and came and said, how is your program? We were all looking at Swami. Swami said, bad, bad, bad. See, he's the same one who said the previous evening everything is good. That is because, like a mother in front of those officials, university officials. So if Swami says good, everything is good. But once you meet him personally in the interview, he said the program is really bad. You need to improve. As Swami started telling about it, I was thinking, yes, Swami, they didn't select correct people for correct language, because I was thinking about my own self. Then immediately Swami said, where is the Kannada poet? I was sitting right at the lotus feet. Swami said, what Kannada you sing? He said, Karnatak, Karnatak, Karnatak. Saying that, do you do drama with me? Means the Swami started really telling my poem was bad, and you have to improve. I was thinking, I am done with this, because I don't know that language. I will be out. Then beautifully Swami says about the poetry. Swami says, to write poetry, you don't need language. I don't think anybody would have heard like this. Swami says, what you need is bhavam. Swami says, bhavam unte భాష అదంతా కదే వస్తుంది. దిస్ ఇస్ స్వామి's word. Swami says, if you have the feeling, the language comes on its own. Can you imagine? It is very difficult to understand. We think we should know good language to write good poetry. But Swami says the other out of box kind of, it's out of universe thinking Swamis. So that is Swami. Then I was thinking I'm done with this poetry. We came out, we sat, we were all each one need to real. Swami said, let's not do it for Indian Independence Day. Let us do it for Krishnastami. Little more time you get it. Then Swami called Sundarayar, brother Sundarayar, you might have heard about, you might have heard him. So he's our senior, he was our faculty also. So he asked him to plan this entire event. Swami used to give that to, Dr. Sundarayar. Then it became a serious thing. Then I was about to say that I don't know Kannada and I want to step down from this. Then they said, no, Swami has already identified you. So see, it was so much problem how I'll get over this. Then there was a Sanskrit poet, the poet who is singing the Sanskrit song. He is a Kannada speaking person. He comes to me and asks me, how do you know Kannada? Then I explained to him. I said, don't worry, I have a Kannada song. I will give it to you. You can sing in front of Swami. Can you imagine what kind of a students we had? But I was thinking it is not my poem. See, always I used to think it is not my poem. So then Swami used to call and ask me to sing, because I by hearted the poem. So I have to close my eyes. Swami says, "O kallu terchi padu." Swami used to say. When I open my eyes, my poem used to go off. Swami used to say, you have to improve. Like this used to be interview. Actually, I used to feel when Swami calls for interview, I used to get scared sometimes. Actually, again, this Kannada poem I need to sing kind of. Then the Krishnastami came. Actually, we had all languages, Nepali, everything is covered. So these are the poets. So Krishnastami Day, this program took place in the Institute Auditorium. Before the program, Swami comes behind the stage. He specifically told me, he knows I'm the weak poet, so you do well. Swami was giving me strength. So this is the Kannada poem I sang called Sumada Hasavu Neenu Himada Believe. Basically saying that God, you are this, you are that, you are the smile of a flower, you are the as cold as a, like the poetry in Kannada. So I finished it and Swami gave us, shawls, and Swami gave, Parker pens because we are poets, and it went off very well. We were very happy. We came down and, settled down in the hostel. I'm done with Kavi Sammelan, I thought. Next day, Swami called for the interview. Swami called for the interview and said, yesterday program was fantastic. It came very good. We should do this Kavi Sammelan for Dashara in Purnachandra Auditorium. Purnachandra, you all know that is a big auditorium. I thought, Swami, please leave us. Because Swami said again, looked at me, a Kannada poet, and he also, there were three of us. We are very weak poets among them. So Swami said, you three should change your song. Can you imagine? Again, I have to go back to Praveen, who is our, Sanskrit poet. So he gives a poem. So Swami, before I could by heart it and I could get the poem, Swami used to call for interview. Says, Padu. Then I sing the poem and Swami says, that's not the way. Swami tells, this is the way to sing Kannada. Swami sang this beautiful song called Jagadodharana. There is a beautiful song composition of Purandara Dasa. Swami sings. I used to think, Swami, why can't you sing the song? Don't ask me to sing the song. That interview used to be like that. Then in another interview, Swami asked me to sing. I again faltered. Swami said, you know how Sakamma used to sing. I really didn't know who is Sakamma and why she sang also. Like, then Swami remembers 1940s, there was a lady called Sakamma in Bangalore. When Swami went to her house, so she asked Swami to stop near the door and she gets the Mangala Harti, Harti. And she used to sing, it seems, Mella Mellane Bandane Gopala Krishna. This is a beautiful song saying that, oh, Gopala Krishna, please come into my house slowly, slowly into. See, Swami remembers that song she sang in 1940. This was 1989. Can you imagine? See, Swami never forgets his devotees. Swami Saiki Marapu Ledu, Verapu Ledu. Swami himself said that. He never forgets his devotees. So that's what he told us that day about that great lady Sakama. Then when it was coming close to Dashara was the, this Kavi Sammelan, Swami, one day, Swami said, you didn't, practice well, your song is not good. So, how many people from Karnataka will come and look for your song. I got really scared. Swami is putting entire, total language of Kannada on my head. Then I went and held Swami's hand and said, as the interview was getting over, then I said, Swami, bhayam vestundi, I told, because I am getting scared now of even performing. Swami said, immediately paused and said, Yenduku bhayam vestundi, in Telugu. He said, why do you get fear? Swami said, నువ్వు చేస్తున్నావంటే భయం వేస్తుంది, స్వామికి వదిలేస్తే అంతా అభయమే. In the sense, basically says, don't think that you are doing, you leave it to God, everything will be fearless. Swami says that actually. So he gave me, and also he told me how to look at Swami. Swami said, that's why I'm always asking you to look at me and sing. In Purna Chandra, I will sit in the middle. You concentrate on me. Don't look at the crowd. If you look at the crowd, you will forget, everything. So look at me and sing. Can you imagine how he is coaching like a mother? So final day came actually. So this is the Kannada poem actually called Mugundu Huvagi Ninna Padava Bayasi Higutali Hadutide Giteyanu Indu Nanage Janmavanite Ksana Ksanavu Poshisiದೆ మనకే కంపను కొట్టు అనుదినవు కాయిదే. Saying that, oh, this is the flower I want to reach your lotus feet, written by my senior Praveena, and gave it to me. I had the opportunity to sing in Purna Chandra. Then after the Kavi Sammelan, Swami comes up onto the stage. Can you imagine? Swami is with me, putting the shawl on my shoulder like this, putting on me in front of everybody. You know very well how much he coached, how much he taught us, how much he gave time for this Kannada poem, which, Swami had so many other works like, constructing hospital, running, college, all these things, administration, but he had the time to coach us. That is his love. So this is what he comes and puts it. Whenever I see this picture, I get very humble. Like, he trains you, and in front of everybody he shows that this is the best poet kind of. Then what I want to say is, God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the call. Actually, he doesn't really need, he needs, that's what he says, you be like a flute, be empty so that I can fill whatever I want. So that's what these Kavi Semmelan gave me the like opportunity to understand him. Finally Swami gave like group photo like this, and there is a small video. You can see that
निगाहों से निगाहें मिला के देखा तो करती है मुझे अजब है दास्तां अजब है दास्तां सुख दुख का आदमी से आंसू तो टपकते हैं हंसने से या रोने से प्यार में गुनाह कोई नई बात तो नहीं प्यार में गुनाह कोई नई बात तो नहीं फिर ऐसा भी क्या रूप जाना कि कोई बात नहीं पास आकर तेरे साई पास आकर तेरे भूल गया मैं जिंदगानी तन्हा तुझसे भी मगर नागर तुझे भुला सकता नहीं लगाई आग ऐसी कि दिल सुलगता हौले हौले तमन्ना अब न उठने की लेकिन दम निकलता हौले हौले दिल की लगी को ए दोस्त दिल की लगी को ऐ दो सकान में, आंसू की सूखी लकीर को, आंसू की सूखी लकीर को मिटा सका न मैं। और आखिर में हमारी एक प्रार्थना प्रस्तुत है जिसके बोल हैं, दिव्य परंपरा भारत की साईं के छात्र लाएंगे। दिव्य परंपरा भारत की साई के छात्र लाएंगे, दिव्य परंपरा ज्ञानी को जाएंगे।
That's the way Swami blessed us that day. Like it's a very, like different kind of experience where when I wrote in some language and Swami wanted me to sing in some other language. So basically, like whatever he designs, that's what happens. From that time, that experience gave me very different kind of, I always felt with Swami I can do anything. That's because if I could sing that Kannada song in front of so many thousands of people in the auditorium, so I could do anything. If really Swami blesses us, we can do anything. That kind of a confidence it gave me. And also I could never understand why, when I thought I am good in one language, why did you ask me to perform in where I don't know anything, kind of. So basically he'll make you zero. Swami always says, you are hero only when you are with me. Swami used to beautifully say hero lu jiro lu. It's a beautifully used to say these things. So again, coming back, as a student life in Puttaparthi, Swami, studying science at the Puttaparthi is very, very difficult because Swami will test you. And one beautiful incident when one of the boy, he broke the ring. Can you imagine two pieces of a gold ring? He gives to Swami in the portico. Swami takes it and he blows like that. Ring is formed. Ring is welded at the room temperature, because in our chemistry text says it melts at 2000 degrees Fahrenheit. But watching him is a pleasure to watch. There is no pressure, in putting the gold together. See, like that, Swami plays with you. The more you want to look at those miracles, you will be lost. Actually, one of my classmates, he was very much interested to see how exactly Swami materializes. Can you imagine? We had friends like that. In one of the interviews, Swami purposely, he was sitting right in front of him. Swami materialized a ring and he made into different colors. He blows the diamond, it becomes blue, green, like that in front of. Then again he'll send it to everybody, then he'll blow and give it to that boy. Finally he told that boy, saying that, hey, if I just blow once, you will become a girl. Can you imagine that kind of? Immediately that boy caught Swami's feet. So the Swami used to play like this. Again, there is another incident where Swami plucked a fruit from a uh, like there is a bush. It doesn't even give it doesn't even flower. That kind of things. Then there was a boy who had a thyroid problem. He was keep growing in his height, and the doctor said you will become 7'4" or something, which is too high for an Indian height. He came running to Swami. Swami just smiled. He bent his head with these two fingers of Swami, index finger, and he tapped on his neck, saying that Buddha ಬೆಳೆದಿರೋದು ಸಾಕು ಬುದ್ಧಿ ಬೆಳೆಯಲಿ, saying that in Kannada, you're grown enough in height, let your buddhi grow from today. That is the day his height stopped. Can you imagine what kind of biochemistry it is, endocrinology it is? So we cannot understand Swami's divinity with these things. Then Sai Gita, one day he asked Swami, Swami asked, who wants Sai Gita? Everybody thought, if Sai Gita is given, how I will take home? Actually, because we ourselves are Sai Gita at home, it's very difficult to take the Sai Gita. Then Swami, one boy said, give me Swami. Then he materialized a silver Sai Gita. Swami said, what is the lesson by camphor? Basically, you have to be like a camphor. You have to sublimate yourself. You have to burn yourself. That is the inner significance of arati. You have to be like that. You have to doesn't have if you should not have your body consciousness, then only you will merge into God. So this is the Swami visits our chemistry exhibition, and he is asking us to repeat the experiment. Can you imagine? Swami is getting excited like a child. you know so he is telling our vice chancellor, Professor Sampath, saying that these boys are doing magic. Can you imagine what kind of magic we do in front of man of miracles? So basically, Swami always used to say, మీరు చదివేది పదార్థ విజ్ఞానము, నేను చెప్పేది పరార్థ జ్ఞానం. Swami used to say that, you learn only materialistic science. I teach you the science beyond. parartha jnanam. That means the jnana which leads you to the realization. That is one way. Then again, beautiful things used to happen. Swami used to come in the portico and he used to ask us, boys, what is the meaning of Bhagavad Gita? So, like immediately Swami called Gandikot Subbarao Garu. Those who know him, he was Subramanya Shastri Garu's son. He was sitting there. Then immediately this man got up and said, Swami, Karmanneva Adhikaraste. Swami said, Kucho, 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 meaning that he came, sat next to Swami and started doing Pad Seva. Then that is the time Swami said, boys, chant the first sloka of Bhagavad Gita. Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta Yutsava, Mamaka Pandavaseva, Kimakurvata Sanjaya is the first sloka. Then Swami said, chant the last sloka of Bhagavad Gita. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurtaraha, Tatra Sri Vijayo Bhutir, Dhruvani Tirmatir Mama. Saying that take the dharma of the first sloka, take the mama, the word which ends the Bhagavad Gita. Mama dharma, if you put it, it becomes mama dharma. Doing your own duty is Bhagavad Gita. If you are a professor, you do your duty. If you are a computer engineer, you can do your duty. If you are a husband, you do your duty. If you are a wife, you need to do your duty. Bhagavad Gita fits into every life. Only God can give this kind of short thing of Bhagavad Gita. We can talk about Bhagavad Gita, we can repeat those slokas, go on and on and on, but really you should understand what is your dharma. Doing your dharma at that time is Bhagavad Gita, because Krishna told Arjuna, you went for war, you have to fight. Then I had a wonderful opportunity of being a Krishna in one Bhagavad Gita drama. Swami came and he watched our, like rehearsal. Rehearsal time is the best time when we, like talk to Swami and Swami directs you. Swami told how to stand like a Krishna, how to look at, how to show the Kauravas army. Swami told this, Lemmu Dhanunjaya, like Dharmam Begeluchu. This is the dialogues of Swami. Swami's speech only, it is basically Lemmu Dhanunjaya, Dharmam Begeluchu. Ragilanu Manta Minta, Vivastuni Inta. Sharavarsham Udappa, Saranyamule, the Vishwashantiki. Like saying that, oh Arjuna, get up, you have to fight, you have to burn that entire army of Kauravas. You have to put the rain of arrows. That is the only way you get the world peace, Swami says. That's a beautiful, this is a Swami's speech. We have taken it into the drama. So then Swami beautifully says, what is the age of Arjuna and Krishna at the time of Bhagavad Gita? He says, so Arjuna was 75 and Krishna was 80 years. Can you imagine? They went to war. And for us at 75 itself, war much before. So then we went to the hostel and thought how much will be, Bhishma, he must be 120 minimum to go for war. This kind of, these things only Swami can give us. Then there was a drama where I was a, king, and this a person who came from Dharmavaram, nearby town. I spoke to him in local language. He made me. I got him also nice food. So he felt I'll make you good king. Actually, as soon as Swami saw me, he started laughing because we'll never have mush, but this king had mush. So as I went to touch Swami's feet, this is the way a student used to kiss Swami's feet. That day I had the crown, I could not kiss his feet. So can you imagine that clearly, later on, it really, this photo helped me to, when I became president or all these things in SSI organizations, basically it told me, crown on my head comes the way to reach his lotus feet. All our appointments are not anointments. We should never take it to head. The minute you take it to head, you can never serve Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba. That's what he teaches in a small, shortest time. Then this Swami is a mother, all the boys used to run to see Swami in the Brindavan. They broke all these beautiful parts. This wonderful devotee of Swami called V.K. Narasimhan complained to Swami saying that your boys are very indisciplined, Swami, like that. Swami, like a mother, he came to the rescue and said, my boys are they are running for me. I don't care how many parts they break. They are running for me. My students run for me, not for worldly things. If you go outside, all the students are running for film stars and movies. This is what, like a mother, he supports. Again, he's a disciplining father. In one of the quiz program, I grabbed the mic from my fellow, colleague and answered correctly. Swami looked at me, and when we went for lunch, Swami caught me and he said, "What you did is very wrong." Swami was about to even slap me. Actually, I wish he would have slapped me. I would have remembered that. Then Swami said, "It is not about winning. Sabha Maryada," he said. That's what Swami, used to correct us like a father. Then many things I know. Like we learned Vedam or anything to get close to Swami. Like that moment of getting close to Swami more important, for which anything we would like to learn kind of. So Vedam also gave a beautiful insight to me once, this is the priest Padmanabha Shastri Garu. He's, Swami's, he used to do puja in Mandir here. One day he was doing puja to the Swami's photo, and Swami came after the puja for Harti, the puja for the photo, but the Harti for the real Swami. I thought is such a blessing, how many priests will get it. So soon after few days, there was a Ganesh festival being in Vedam. Why I'm telling is that Vedam only gave this experience. My teacher, Shiv Shankar Sai Sir Garu, he gave a priest thing to me because I need to take care of the hostel Ganesha. When Swami came, I was doing puja because I can't see Swami because I'm facing Ganesha. So I was doing Sumukhayanama, Ekadantayanama, because loudly, because I want to show my presence to Swami rather than the doing puja. Swami came and stood next to me and told everybody, "Where did you get this priest from?" This priest and Ganesha looked alike, actually. Swami said, actually, everybody laughed. Then immediately my warden said, come and give, Swami is leaving, you should give the Harti. So I did puja for Ganesha, Harti for Bhagwan Shri Sat Sai Baba. So Swami lit the Harti. When I gave the Harti, as Swami walked, I moved the Harti away. Swami comes to close to my left side and Swami said, Santoshama. This I didn't even ask Swami, but he gives. That is kind of a God he is. So then this is my personal experience about my sister who underwent some kind of after delivery of a baby, she got into depression. I got a phone call from my home saying that she's not well. So I ran to Swami's Mandir in the morning, Darshan on January 3rd, 1990. I told Swami that sister is not well. Swami said she's fine. He went for a round, the darshan round. After he came back, those days we had this opportunity to go and hold Swami. I held Swami's hand and said, Swami, please save my sister. I was thinking if Swami gives vibhuti, I can send home and she will be all right. Then Swami said, come. He took me inside along with other devotees. Swami was talking to all other devotees. I was thinking when he'll give the prasadam and I can send it home. Then after some time, Swami said, called me into the personal interview room where Swami sat on the couch. As Swami gives so much importance, I started, crying and telling about my sister. Swami took my head and put on his lap and he patted me saying that, why fear when I am Swamundaga bayam enduk padtav, like saying that why do you get scared? Am I not there? So then Swami, I saw my tears on Swami's robe. So I was about to rub with the handkerchief. Swami said, no, don't worry, sit here. You go and get your mother and sister tomorrow. I will cure her. Only God can say that. Nenu melu chestanu. That's what Swami's words. That means no doctor says I'll cure. Doctors only treat. Only God is the one who cures. So Swami went into another room, got a bunch of 100 rupee notes and put it into my pocket. He's thinking how this boy will go to the, his house and bring them. Can you imagine? Swami thinks that's why he's Paripurna Prema. He thinks all aspects. That's the way that his love is. So he puts it to my pocket and said, get your mother and sister tomorrow. So I brought them. I went home and my sister was not well. Then as I brought entire family, next day Swami gave interview on January 4th. We all came in. The Swami came last and he closed the door and this is the interview. I was standing to the wall and to the door. Swami came in. He went to my sister who was sitting in the middle, stood in front of her and said, what happened to you? Then she was just looking at him. Swami materialized this lingam, gave it to her and said, 7 days you put water on it and drink it. On the 7th day, you will be all right. Can you imagine? They were suffering almost from 3 to 4 months about this. They were ready to go for antidepressant therapy. When when Swami gave this, and went and sat on the chair, my mother, who was sitting next to Swami, fell on his feet and started crying. Swami said, "Why do you cry? Am I not there as a mother? If you get, cry like this, pillalu will lose their you know confidence also, because see, by the time my father died and my mother was, like my mother and my brother, my eldest brother, was taking care of the family. So then Swami lifts her and looks at her eye and says, you have a cataract forming. If not now, maybe not now, about another 6 months you should get operated. Can you imagine? Swami was looking at her eye, and then he called my brother. He said, after your father's death, you took care of the entire family as the eldest son. I'm so happy with you. Swami materialized Akshay Patra of Vibhuti to him and gave it. He started praying. Then Swami looked at my brother-in-law who came with with us. Swami said, look, when you have headache, Swami says, when you have headache, your wife puts Amrutanjanam. Swami used the word Amrutanjanam. He said, when you are not well, your wife takes care. When a wife is not well, it is your duty to take care. Swami says, like, like, a house should not be a Korean war. Wife and husband should not fight like a Korean war. Swami used the Korean war, actually. Then Swami also said, తల్లిదండ్రులు తిట్టుకుంటూ ఉంటే పిల్లలు కొట్టుకుంటూ లేస్తారు. Swami says, if you both are shouting at each other, children become violent. That's what beautifully said Swami. And then finally my sister asked, Swami, please take care of Balu, that is me. And Swami said, he will be here, he'll study, I'll take care of him. Then immediately Swami reminded her, you should take care of your child. You are neglecting for few months. Because of this issue, my sister was neglecting, her son, actually. See, that is the love of Swami. Then he gave everybody, he called me, and I got that Vibhuti bag. Swami gave it to everybody, Vibhuti, and finally put into my pocket, and he let us out. We came out. Exactly on the 7th day, my sister became all right. It is said in Vedam, Sharire Jarjari Bhute Vyadigraste Kalebare, Aushadam Janhavi Toyam, Vaidyo Narayano Hari. This is the chant in the temples when they give the their abhishekam, like that water tirtham to us. It says, like, body is a temple of God. Afflicted by the disease, it becomes corpse. Water from doctor will resurrect the health back. That doctor is none other than Narayana, Satyanarayana, Sai Narayana. See, this is the wonderful, experience which I saw Swami's omnipotence, omniscience. He knows everything and he cures everything. So after this experience, I used to always, whenever I look at Swami, I used to cry and go into that some kind of Swami, like, why I don't know, like this kind of, all pervasiveness, all, like all powerfulness of Swami, But Swami wanted me to enjoy him. So that is the occasion when one day in the mandir, Swami came and asked, who is a good boy? I was in the bhajan hall. We were all sitting, 60 of us. I thought everybody will lift and I will be left out. So I lifted my hand. Then I was alone with the hand up in the 60 boys. And Swami, with this index finger, he said like this. So a path formed, I was sitting in the middle. So boys have to move so that Swami can come towards me. Swami came to me. Swami said, how do you know? Actually, by the time Swami came, I was already my knees. And then I told Swami ki telusu, I told, because I told Swami knows that I'm good. Then Swami beautifully said, conscience low confidence unda. This is the words will reverberate in my entire life. So Swami said, do you have confidence in your conscience? What Swami says is, everybody has that antaryami, the conscience. which tells you not to do when you're doing a bad thing. That is God. If you have confidence in that, that means you have the confidence in God. I said, yes, Swami. Then for which Swami said, good boy, good boy, good boy. 3 times he patted me and gave namaskar, and Swami went. That path closed. See, that again put me back onto enjoying Swami rest of the, the time when I studied in Patti. So then again, after long coming to this country, you all know very well, we miss Swamis, that uh, uh, the you can't go to Parthi that easily. We get in stuck with all this card, green card, all these things. So finally I could make it in 2011. On I went to Parthi for New Year Day for the student program. On the first, Swami blessed us with chanting Vedam in front of him. Second day, Swami came to Purnachandra and blessed us. On the third, Swami called us into the same sanctum sanctorum, that Brajan hall where that goodbye incident happened. And when Swami came, I wrote a poem in Telugu and gave it to him. Swami, even that time, Swami was, physical health was not like in that state. Swami looked at the poem and he took it and read it in front of me. And this is the poem called Kamalaptuni Kiranamulaku Kanularaga Vechiyundu Kamalamu Bhangin నా హృత్కమలమును నీ పదకమలముల నర్పించద నను కావగ వేగరావే పర్తి విహారి. Saying that, Swami, I am waiting like a lotus, waiting for the sun to offer this lotus of my heart at the lotus feet of Sai. So Swami took it. I say, I didn't even realize Swami's physical health, but he took it and read it. Actually, then he blessed us like this. This is a video of that day. So that was the touch. It is 111 days before Mahasamadhi. Swami gave us this, opportunity to talk to him, touch him. So finally, sisters, brothers, and members of the Cancer Center, Swami used to say this beautifully. He says, Sai alone gives the ultimate joy. So this is Swami's poem. He always used to say, what Sai gives, nobody can give. Swami says this, ధనము రాశిక పోసినన్ ధారగారాని ఆనందమును మీరలందుకొనుడి తీర్థయాత్రలెన్నో తిరిగినన్ కనరాని ఆనందమును మీరలందుకొనుడి విద్యలన్నీయు వల్లె వేసినన్ కనరాని ఆనందమును మీరలందుకొనుడి ప్రాణముల్ బిగబట్టి పలుమార్లు కనరాని ఆనందమును మీరలందుకొనుడి. కాసు ఖర్చు లేదు, కాయ కష్టము లేదు, లేదు సాధనాది బాధ. మనసుకింతయు ఇచ్చి మరి సాయి కడనున్న అందరాని సుఖము పొందగలరు, అందరాని సుఖము పొందగలరు. Saying that Sai alone gives the bliss that cannot be attained by heaps of cash. Sai alone gives bliss that cannot be achieved by pilgrimages. Sai alone gives bliss that cannot be reached by reading all the sacred books. Sai alone gives bliss that cannot be enjoyed by doing yoga sadhanas. He says, Kasu kharchu ledu. You don't need to spend a penny. No need to undergo these special sadhanas. He says, Manasu kinta yuichi. Turn your mind to little to Sai. He says, not even full, little to Sai. Mari Sai kadanunna. Hold on to him. Don't get any, don't get any diversion. Just hold on to his feet. He says, you will get ultimate joy. Thank you all for giving me this wonderful opportunity. Jai Sai.
Sai Ram, Balu Uncle. On behalf of the Sri Satyasai Baba Center of Kansas, we would like to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for sharing such divine glimpses of Swami's divinity, and also for the very touching poems, very, very touching in Telugu and as well, and as in Kannada. Now we'll be chanting Mahamrityunjay Mantram 3 times, followed by Mahamangala Harti and Vibhuti prayer. Sai Ram.
Saida, thank you so much, Brother Balu Karanam, for sharing your wonderful experiences. Just for 1 minute, if you want to give any special messages on the auspicious occasion of Easwaramma Day, can you please, anything come into your...
Yes, Swami, basically you need to hold on to him. That's what I feel all the time. He is the only, from any situation, Swami only guides us. So hold on to him and he will guide you correct way. Don't hold on to anyone else. That's what I can give actually.
Saida, that's so precious. I think. Thank you so much for your divine message. Thank you, Saida. Now we are going to chant Mahamrityunjay Mantram for the well-being of everyone. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Bandhanan Mrityurmukshiyamamritat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Bandhanan Mrityurmukshiyamamritat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiv Bandhanan Mrityurmukshiyamamritat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now we are Mahamangal Harati. Om Jaya Jagadish Hare Swami Satya Sai Hare Bhakta Jana Samrakshaka Bhakta Jana Samrakshaka Pati Maheshwara. Om Jaya Jagadish Hare Sashivadana Srikara Sarva Pranapate Swami Sarva Pranapate Ashrita Kalpalatika Ashrita Kalpalatika Apadbandava. Om Jaya Jagadish Hare माता-पिता गुरुदैवमु मरियन्तयु मेरे स्वामी मरियन्तयु मेरे नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नागेन्द्र शयन ओम जय जगदीश हरे ओंकार रूप ओजस्वी वो साई महादेव सत्य साई महादेव मंगल हारति अंदुको मंगल हारतुलंदुको मंदर गिरिधारी ओम जय जगदीश हरे नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण नारायण ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा साई नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण नारायण ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा साई नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण नारायण ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा ओम शांति 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 स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यां परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीमहीषान् गोब्राह्मणेभ्यश्च शुभमस्तु नित्यं समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय परमं पवित्रं बाबा विभूतिं परमं विचित्रं लीला विभूतिं परमार्थ इष्टार्थ मोक्ष प्रदानं बाबा विभूतिम् idamashayami. Sacred, holy, and supreme is Baba's vibhuti, pouring forth in brilliant streams, display of vibhuti. So auspicious is its might, it grants liberation. Baba's vibhuti, its power protects us. Paramam pavitram Baba vibhutim Paramam vichitram Leela vibhutim Paramartha ishtartha moksha pradhanam Baba vibhutim idamashayami Sai Baba vibhutim idamashayami. Om